Okay, so hi everyone, good day. Today we're going to tackle about the verbal communication and culture. First, we have verbal communication, it's defined. It primarily means by which people convey ideas, values, norms, and traditions within their society. So, the verbal communication is the process of sharing information, ideas, and emotions using spoken or written words. It is the primary way people express themselves and share their culture, including their beliefs, values, norms, and traditions. So, for example, when people greet each other with specific words like hello or good morning, they are using verbal communication that reflects the social customs. Next one, we have culture. So, culture is our group of people who share a common identity, often based on a shared history, culture, language, or territory. It is a shared way of life among a group of people, including their customs, traditions, language, and social norms. It shapes how individuals communicate and interpret messages. For example, in some cultures, addressing elders formally shows respect, while in others, informal greetings may be acceptable. So, for example, here in the Philippines, greeting to elders like magmano siya sa kanang mga tigulang or sa mama o sa papa to show respect. So, ang other food na culture like other countries kay kanang dili ila ay like magbaw lang para mag-show of respect sa mga elders. So, the next one we have the components of verbal codes. First, we have phonology. So, when we say phonology, it deals with the sound used in a language and how they are organized. Different languages have different set of sounds. So, for example, the English word cat, it has three distinct sounds, just like it. In contrast, some languages may not have a sound that the other country has or the other country has possessed. So speakers might pronounce it differently. Next one is morphology. So in morphology, it is the study of how words are formed by combining smaller units called the morphemes. For example, in English is adding ed to walk creates a past tense walked. This shows how morphology changes word meanings. So by adding affixes, so before the word is called the prefix and then after the word is called the suffix. Next one is the syntax. It refers to the rules for arranging words into sentences. It determines what means how words fit together to create meaning. So for example, she eats lunch follows correct English syntax while eat she lunch does not. So the next one we have the semantics. So in semantics, it focuses on the meaning of words and phrases. For example, the word bank can mean a financial institution or the site of a river depending on the context or depending on constructing the words and its context. Next, the last one we have the pragmatics. So in pragmatics, it involves understanding the intended meaning behind words in specific situations. So for example, if someone says, could you open the window, they are likely making a polite request, not just asking about your ability to open windows. So that is what we call pragmatics. The next one we have here the characteristics of verbal codes. So the following characteristics of verbal codes includes the following. We have the arbitrariness, rule govern, productivity, displacement, cultural specificity, context dependence, symbolism, and flexibility. In arbitrariness, words are symbols that do not have a natural connection to what they represent. For example, there is nothing inherently cat-like about the word cat. Other languages use entirely different words like gato in Spanish. Next is rule govern. Language follows specific grammatical and social rules that guide how words are used. For example, messages and ideas using those words. Next, we have the displacement. In displacement, language can be used to talk about things that are not present or events that happened in the past or future. For example, telling a story about last summer's vacation, it shows because the event actually happened is not actually happening in the present. The next one is cultural specificity. The language reflects the unique cultural experiences of its speakers. For example, the Inuit people have many words for snow because it is an essential part of their environment and culture. The next one is context dependent. The meaning of words often depends on the situation or setting, depending on the speaker's tone and context of the conversation. And then the last one, the next one is symbolism. Words act as a symbol that represents objects, actions, or ideas. For example, is a heart. So the symbol of the heart is the word love. It represents affection even though it's not the emotion itself. So overall, these are the following components and characteristics of verbal codes in order to have an effective communication across cultures. That's all. Thank you.
This is the conclusion of the report, so I'll be talking about language, culture, and discourse. First, the relationship between language and culture. Language plays a fundamental role in reflecting cultural values, beliefs, and social norms. It influences how individuals perceive the world and interact with one another. For example, in cultures that values collectivism, communication may emphasize group harmony over individual expression. In individualistic cultures, language often highlights personal achievements and independence. So language is more than just a tool for communication. It carries the essence of cultural identity. This means that understanding its language, values, and worldview. And then cultural context and meaning. The meaning of words can vary significantly depending on the cultural context. So, for example, the word family may refer to immediate relative in some Western cultures, but some can extend to a broader kinship network in Asian or in African cultures. So, misunderstanding cultural context can lead to miscommunication. For example, a word or phrase that seems straightforward in one culture may have a deeper context-specific meaning in another. And then, discourse patterns in different cultures. Cultures structure their conversation and narratives differently. So, in Western cultures, they prioritize their linear logical discourse where communication is clear, concise, and follows a specific order. While in Asian cultures, they prefer circular, context-rich discourse that emphasizes relationship background information and before reading the main point. So the difference in discourse can create challenges in cross-cultural communication. For example, a Western audience may view circular narratives as indirect, while Asian audience might find linear communication overly direct. And that's all.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the reporter of the Intercultural Communication. My topic is all about the cultural variations in verbal communication. When we say variations in verbal communication, refer to a difference in how people speak, listen, and interpret language. So I have here two verbal communication. First is the culture and region. Culture means different cultures have different norms, nouns, and values regarding communications. Well, region is people from different regions with a country may speak with different accents, use different slang or different pronunciations. facial expressions, body language, and tone of your voice can also important in communication. The important one is be respectful and always treat others with respect regardless of their communication styles. Is the language and identity. Language and identity are deeply intertwined, shaping how we see ourselves and how others see us. So I have here two, the self-reflections and social identity. Imagine you have a special code that only your friends understand. It's like a secret language that makes you feel like you belong to groups, and that's kind of like how language works with identity. So, language as a mirror, which is the self-reflections. The language we speak reflects our thoughts. The language we speak reflects our thoughts, values, and experiences. It helps us articulate our inner world and understand ourselves. Like for example, the words we use to describe emotions, relationships, and our place in the world a lot about individual identities. Next is the social identity. Language also connects us to specific groups and communities. It can signal our ethnicity, nationality, religion, social class, or even a professional background. And that's all. Thank you.